This week on FlatsClass, our guest host, well, he's someone special. He is a native there of Apalachicola, and he is the best of the best in that zone, and that's Captain Brett Martina. Well, here we are.
Yes, sir.
In your backyard, but it's ice blue skies and I mean some cold water.
It's cold.
What's the play?
Today we're gonna go try to fish them. Since the water's so low, we're gonna try to get on the edge where all the fish have fell off the flats and try to stay concentrated on that edge, see if we can hit a score or two. Because they should bunch up on this cold water.
How do you think they'll behave though?
That's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
I think the Z-Man will get it done though for us.
Yeah. That little Ned rig and that little Bugs jig, fish slow, dragging it on the bottom.
Yep.
We'll get a few to chew.
I think that's about what's gonna happen.
What I'm more worried about is warming up myself.
Yeah. We're the ones that's gonna be cold.
Yeah. They think they're cold. It is cold.
It's freezing this morning.
Yeah. Well, any day in Apalachicola is a good day.
That's it, baby.
So we're working this edge because you're anticipating as the tide pulls up.
Yes, the fish should move in with them.
Jump the bar.
Yeah.
And even with all these perfect ice blue skies, they won't be all bunched up, or will they be scattered? What do you think?
I feel like they're going to be scattered today. We may hit a school or two, but I feel like most of the fish are going to be scattered out along this edge.
Well, I'm all about scattered because when they're all together, they get a little jumpy.
That's it. So when CA called me, I told him, I was like, CA, I don't know if this is the right time to come here and try to do this because of our river went to 22 feet. And he was like, it doesn't matter, we got to get it done. I was like, well, come on. The weather looks decent. It's cold, you know, the water temp and the fish weren't real frisky. But when CA called me last week, it was a spur of the moment because I blew up the motor on my boat. We had the high river coming. It was going to be tricky, but I told him to come on down and we'll see what happens.
Bring
it out, bring it out.
I threw way away from him.
School on the inside. There he is. Look at the one following him. Look at him. Oh, where you going, Poppy? Look at the school moving down there. I got one in the grass out here.
Captain Brett Martina is a one-of-a-kind personality. He is one of those guys that is salt of the earth, and you can identify with him just because he doesn't know what a stranger is. Everyone he meets, he calls Poppy. I'm gonna try to move easy here.
Ah, damn it. Bit it and let it. You bit it. I can pull it off of it.
These are good fish. This is another Ned rig, but this is the goby. It's just a little small, little tiny goby. Beautiful. I mean, from what I've seen in the first 20 minutes this morning, this is one hell of a fishery. It is beautiful. There's a lot of fish in this class right here that are about right now, especially on this cold morning. I'm gonna get him back in. The challenges that we faced in this episode with Captain Brett were just kind of typical of the whole winter. It's like every time I schedule filming, it is the day after the front. Ice blue skies, cold air, plenty of wind, and the barometer is so high, it's just pushing the water out. And this episode, no different. We had all of those challenges, which made me feel grateful that we had Brett on board, because if anyone can overcome that, it is Brett Martina. There we go. There we go.
See them in there?
I see them in there.
Get one. Throw deep into the grass and then work out. There you go. Hey, right out here, they're moving out here.
I see them moving down. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
You're good. Power pole got me.
He's a little bit better than 18 inches.
Yeah, he's a little better. That just shows you how big that one was. Woo.
Yeah, that one was a toad. Nothing refuses that TRD. That little Z-Man TRD is kind of a go-to staple bait. I don't know what they think it is, whether it's a small minnow or a little shrimp, but it's just got the right size,
right profile,
and it casts like a bullet.
Casts great.
Thought I had that thing on slow down. I didn't think it was moving that fast.
Oh, yeah, it about got me.
You had a Texas two-step?
Pretty used to having a bell off the platform. So growing up here, it was pretty awesome as a child. You know, the town was much smaller, you know, a lot less people then than what there is now. My Uncle Squeaky used to put my boat overboard for me when I was a kid, and I'd go tarpon fishing in the morning and then come back and basically go trout fishing in the afternoon a lot of days. Got him.
I fed that one. Fed that one.
They may be having a hard time seeing them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Seeing them back.
But I think that there's a big one right there.
I see them.
Whoa, where you going? Where you going? Thought I had you under control.
Damn, I had one after it. Little guy. It's after it.
Brett, these things are cookie cutters. I mean, every one looks like they're
They're
all grew
twins.
up.
That one don't have a spot on it.
Yeah, they were all in the same class. Yeah, this one has 0 spots, spotless red. Doesn't get any cleaner than that.
Nah.
Apalachicola is one of those places where you literally step back in time. It's not the Nature Coast. It's not the Big Bend. It's the Forgotten Coast. It is just far enough away from everything, what you would call metropolitan, that it has been unchanged. Many of us who grew up in the state always recognized Apalachicola as kind of oyster central, if you will, for the shellfish industry. But it possesses some amazing fishing. Everything from speckled trout and redfish to tarpon fishing to offshore fishing. Everything around Apalachicola is pretty fertile.
There he is.
I don't know if that was the one I looked at or not. He was headed there to that spot I just threw on the spot. This one's a nicer fish. Not a whole lot you can do with those little hooks. Not a whole lot you can do.
Come here, Poppy. Oh, little Poppy.
That little Finesse swim bait, definitely the ticket.
Yes, sir. Woo.
I mean, no worse for wear. Swam away strong. What do you think?
I think we're gonna move spots. We're gonna go check something else. We've kind of had a pretty good morning right here. Caught 5 or 6, I think. We're gonna ease over this wind switching, tides changing. We're gonna go check something else out.
Well, not that I was disappointed, but that happened just the way you said it would.
Yeah.
You said it was going to happen that way on these edges, and it did.
Yeah, we're gonna go check out some more. See if we can replicate it.
All right, let me spin us off here with the trolling motor, and we'll get to it. When we were fishing inside along some edges, after we had gone down some of what Brett felt like was the highest percentage spots. He goes, I think, based off his logs and what he knows that can happen this time of year, the possibility of having larger schools on the beach might play well for us. He goes, now it's not going to be comfortable because we're going to be out there and the wind's going to be blowing on us. But if we can get out there and those schools are out there, he said, it's an absolute slam dunk. We're going to be able to do it. So Brett, what puts them out here? You know, this is a spot that I wouldn't anticipate seeing this many fish gaggled up. Is it tide that's got them out here, or time of year?
Tide and time of the year. You know, and fish typically, when these cooler water temps shut, they congregate around passes, you know. When the water temps start dropping like they have.
You on?
Yeah.
All right, cool. A better one too. You're running out in the front of the group. I'm gonna throw down here.
They'll get in there and settle down when we catch them.
It is so cool to see this many fish in one spot where you can target them like this. This is nuts. This is one of those days, those epic moments where you're like, man, I wish I could find a group like this and fish them one day. And we have. And we really have. That's a good solid one there.
Yeah, he's a good one. It's one of the bigger ones out of the bunch. Finally come in front of him. Come here, Poppy. Come on, Bubba. Woo. Well, bad.
Pretty awesome.
Pretty cool.
Pretty cool. Let's jump down here, try to get in front of them again.
Yes, sir.
The challenge, once we got out onto the beach, not only was it kind of, you know, you're being jostled around by swell, but then there was a pod of dolphins out there that were playing volleyball with the redfish in the school that we wanted to eventually find. And that's how we actually found them, because we could see dolphins working down the beach and they were racing inside and they were coming back off the bar and they were just blowing up. If we were in any other venue other than the Apalachicola or Forgotten Coast zone, there'd be no way redfish would continue to feed while dolphins are raiding the edges of their school. There'd be no way. But because we're in, well, nowhere, because we were in nowhere, somehow they did it. And it was a lot of fun, actually. It was a ton of fun, something that you don't expect. I think the biggest thing I didn't expect was how white silver those redfish were. They didn't even look like redfish. They literally looked like albino redfish. There was no color in them at all. They literally blended in with that sugar sand on the bottom. Let me share with you what some of the stuff that we were using to try to fool those crazy spooky redfish in Apalachicola. The real trick to fooling those fish was to fish small. We were fishing 15-pound leader, we were fishing 8 and 10-pound braid. We were fishing some really light jig heads, 1/15, 1/10 of an ounce, and at times on the beach we actually threw some 3/16, but everything was small. The largest bait that we made a cast to a fish there was 3.3 inches, and the smallest one was literally barely 2 inches. It was that kind of day where we were trying to beat the elements and we were trying to put these small lures in front of these fish. One of my favorites that we threw was the TRD gobies. Now the TRD gobies has come on the scene here in the last year or so. And this has turned out to be one of my favorite go-to baits for very spooky redfish, and it almost always fools them. Whether they think it's a goby, or they think it's a small shrimp, or a small crab crawling along the bottom. But when you put it on that 1/10 of an ounce little Finesse Bullets Texas rig terminal tackle, and you let that thing just kind of tack along the bottom, you're gonna fool some redfish for sure. So that bait, a real natural color like blue claw on the TRD Neds, the Finesse TRD, and then again, when I have to use a swim tail, I love using this bait because it doesn't roll a lot. It's just like the tail moves. It's a new swim bait. It's the Mullitron. This is the Houdini color, which matches the bottom really, really well. And baits like these that aren't that intrusive to fish that feel pressure are the ones that will get you results. Now the delivery system for all of this is a 6'9". This is a medium action, very moderate at best, because I've got to throw these small baits. I've got it on a 2000 Shimano Vanford, but this Fitzgerald rod right here is one of my favorites, both this one and the Aquafin Medium Light. Those two rods, the 7-footer and the 6'9", for sight fishing and seeing fish and being able to make those casts, this is the right deal for me for fishing this style that we're fishing in that clear water over sand. So the next time you find yourself with these crazy spooky redfish in super shallow water, don't overlook throwing the absolute smallest lures in your tackle bag. The Ned setups, like the gobies and like the Finesse TRD. They'll do it for you, I promise.
CA and I have been talking for, I would probably say 5 years now, about coming up here and doing some filming. A lot of trout fishing because I love trout fishing, but just the conditions we had were not gonna work for trout at all. And overall, the experience was great. You know, we both run Hell's Base. We both have a great relationship with those guys. Same thing with like the Z-Man guys, the Mirrolure guys. I know them, the Power Pole guys. So the relationships have just been great, and spending time with CA, you know, seeing the knowledge he has, you know, from the spin fishing world. When I do a lot more fly fishing, it's just a way to take maybe my spin fishing game to the next level. There he is. That's a good one.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Good.
That's why I kept moving up there. This one's gonna be a good one.
This is our last and final fish.
This will be, yeah, I think this is the one that sends us back. Sends us back to a nice warm truck.
We worked for that something.
Yeah, we have worked for him.
Yeah, that's a good
The Ned rig. I pulled out the old Lucky TRD. I saw him move up in that dark spot, and I was like, if he'll just come out where I can see him and get a clean shot at him. And I drug it by him, and he was gonna pass it, and then I stopped it. As soon as I stopped it, he turned around and said, "Oh, eat it now." Crazy good.
It's a beautiful fish.
Oh yeah, a big one. I mean it. Don't do that, don't do that, don't do that.
Oh, that's a good one.
This is a beast. Come on, buddy. Don't get off. Not here.
Come on, Bubba.
Woo,
there we
he's
go.
a handful. That is a solid fish. All these fish have been in that same, you know, smaller, younger class, and then you have that one Bismarck red in there swimming with them. Look at that.
Good job, CA.
Woo.
Good job, baby.
Man, We had to have that one happen.
Yes.
As cold as it's been today and how many fish we caught in that same class, and then finally to get a couple of big ones here toward the end of the day was unbelievable.
We worked for them today, that's for sure. This cold weather definitely affected them.
It's hard to leave that many fish on this flat.
Yeah, time to go.
But it's time to go.
100%.
Unbelievable adventure to go up there. Do I wish we had better fishing conditions for this episode? Because Apalachicola is an amazing place. Their historic downtown, their pristine waters that they have there, and it's virtually unpressured. It's just a beautiful place to visit if you want to step back in time. But when we rolled in at the end of the day, we literally launched at a place that it's a cousin of Brett's place. That it's an oyster processing house, but they actually sell oysters. And we went in there and we basically gorged ourselves on shellfish. I mean, we ate shrimp, we ate oysters, and we had a couple of cold brews to go with it to celebrate. Well, one hell of a successful day with Captain Brett Martina. And I gotta throw out a big round of applause for Captain Finch, who did an amazing job being able to keep his boat under control, push poling, so that we could get into these tight little places and catch these fish. It's tough enough when you've got one skiff in there, but when you've got two skiffs in there trying to do it, it's a challenge. So big round of applause to him.